The Lane Kiffin coaching saga is continuing for another day. Matt DeGregorio joins us now with his insight into where the current Ole Miss coach might be coaching next season. And it could be, well, he could stay at Ole Miss.
Could stay at Ole Miss.
Could go to Florida. Could go to LSU.
Yeah.
Or a wild card.
Yeah, there could be a wild card. And Ross Dellinger actually was just talking about the potential of a wild card. And we won't talk about this for long, but Texas might have an opening as well. Steve Sarkisian now talking to NFL franchises about a potential move there. And if Texas opens up, it opens up a whole other can.
Texas is not open for now. That could be down the road. But so Saturday night, Ole Miss beat Florida in front of a record crowd in Oxford. It was like a celebration, huge celebration. That seems like a long time ago, though.
Yeah, it does.
Sunday, Lane Kiffin's family was in Florida. Monday, Lane Kiffin's family was in Baton Rouge, checking out LSU. Tuesday, Lane Kiffin went on a national show, said he's focused on the Egg Bowl and beating Mississippi State. And today, Lane Kiffin again talked to the media, said he didn't want to talk about other coaching possibilities. Matt, where do we stand right now, and is there any way to tell? Everybody seems like they want to know something, but nobody really knows anything.
I don't think Lane Kiffin himself knows exactly what he's going to do. I think he's been battling this internal battle. Does he stay in a place where he claims that he's been the happiest that he's ever been in his entire life? Or does he go to a place that growing up he dreamed about, a place like an LSU or a place like Florida, one of those established blue bloods who have won national championship after national championship? I personally don't think that he's made a decision, Hugh. I think he's having a really tough internal struggle. I think he wants to leave. I think that he really does. But deep down, is that going to be the great decision? And he's talked at length about this being the good old days, and I asked him about this on Saturday. He brought up the quote, "I'm in the good old days right now." You can look at it two different ways. Does that mean he is leaving? He's going to look back at this as a decision that he made, but is his favorite time in his life and his coaching career is at Ole Miss? Or is this something that he's going to live out his career in the good old days? Because this really feels like a monumental decision in the career of Lane Kiffin.
Over the last week, I've heard people at Florida say they feel good about it. Pretty much it was a done deal that he was going at Florida. I've heard the same thing at LSU, and at times I've heard people at Ole Miss say he, without a doubt, is staying at Ole Miss. It's all up in the air. It's changes by the hour. It
does. And I keep coming back to this. And Lane talked today on the teleconference, and we'll have more tonight at 10 about it. I'll go a little more in depth about it. But like you said, he did not mention, or he really refused to talk about the future, kept reverting back to his 6 years at Ole Miss and what he's built there. Is that something that you want to leave, right? And we haven't seen the sustainability of success since Johnny Vaught in the mid-40s through early 1970. Like, is this going to be a Tommy Tuberville situation where he goes and says, "I'm not leaving," and then 48 hours he leaves? I think it's a good sign right now, actually, for Ole Miss fans, and maybe I'm reading too much into this, that Lane hasn't come out necessarily and said that he's staying, because if he were to leave, then that just jeopardizes what he has built altogether. I think one more thing that we're going to talk about, does he coach in the playoff or a potential SEC championship game?
Ole Miss hasn't made the playoffs yet. That hinges on a win next Friday over Mississippi State, and that is kind of the big hang-up. I think it is clear he wants to coach in the playoffs, but if he's committed to another team, I don't think the Rebels want him sticking around. I think they want him to move on as quickly as possible. And this is all happening in the middle of a season that for Ole Miss, the Rebels have 10 wins at this point in the season, first time in more than 60 years.
Yeah, this is the premier season for Ole Miss fans of this generation, right? This is the best that they have ever been, and it's a surprise because it was supposed to be a rebuilding year. I think if they were not as good, if they were 6-5 or 5-6 team, we're having a completely different conversation, and Lane Kiffin's out the door. The fact that he's had sustained success in Oxford and doing it with a team in a rebuilding year shows that they can do it, but is it what Lane Kiffin has always dreamed about? And I don't know the answer to that.
But he has dreamed about coaching in the playoffs and winning a national championship. He would have the opportunity probably there if he stayed at Ole Miss for the rest of this season.
Yeah, you don't get too many chances at winning a national championship. And you look at even these powerhouses, there's a reason LSU and Florida are open right now. You win one game, and he said this, you win one game, you're kind of on the hot seat. 2 games, you're really on the hot seat. 3 games, you're out the door. And that's not going to be the case up in Oxford, especially with what he's done for that university. And he has a lot, Hugh, and I don't think this gets talked about enough, a lot of freedom, at least recently in the last couple of days. So much freedom up there in Oxford that it seems mind-boggling that he would ever want to leave. But there is that thing, that blue blood thing that you feel like you can win year in and year out out of Florida or an LSU that's in the back of his mind.
We'll see how it will all play out. A lot of you are watching on social media. It is a soap opera this week with Lane Kiffin, that is for sure. Matt, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Hugh.